The only reason to even have a TikTok is to watch the lady feed sour gummy worms to the kinkajous, okay? I am only here for the kinkajous. Welcome back to my nightmare. All right. So, you're farther away from me, so I don't know if you're going to be able to hear as well today as you usually are. And I am going to show you one of the easiest t-shirt refashions that I've ever done. I never did a tutorial for this before. It wasn't something that I offered on my shop. I was supposed to, but I closed my shop shortly after I figured out how to make this. And I call it my fairy shirt because I like to make this shirt and kind of wear it as a like a fantasy fairy con kind of uniform. A lot of my fairy con outfits have a handkerchief hem or have like an uneven hem, and this shirt's good for that. It's also really good though, like for me, I know that my weight fluctuates a lot. So sometimes you get a shirt that you absolutely love, but then you gain a couple pounds and it doesn't fit the way that you want it to. So this is how to make something bigger. I know a lot of thrift flips revolve around the idea of taking items that are too big for you and making them smaller, and that there have been a lot of criticisms about that. And I think it's time that we start taking band t-shirts that are maybe a little bit too small and make them fit us. So here's how to make something bigger. Super easy. Beginners can do this. We're going to start. We need 2 t-shirts. We need scissors. We need probably that. And I need more tea in my life, to be honest. Maybe a ruler. Now I promise this is pretty easy. So I have a t-shirt here. This is actually fairly loose on me and was on my floor because that's the kind of person I am. And I like this shirt okay. I'm not as into this stylish shirt as I used to be. This is something I did sell when I had the Mad Rabbit Society Etsy store. I call this Iggy Star Sparkle. But I used to like to do these appliques. That's what I like to do. I like to do a lot of appliques because in my opinion, unlike a graphic that's printed onto the t-shirt, the applique doesn't really fade. Eventually you might need to put new stitches down to keep it on, but it doesn't fade. So I like these shirts. I never got to keep one. The one that I had like the original one that I made. But I was a hairdresser, so obviously it got bleached at the salon one day and it was never the same. So here's my favorite Iggy Star Sparkle t-shirt that I have left over from when I was doing those things. And it fits me okay up here. This is mainly going to focus on how to make things fit around this tummy area. And again, I'm using a new setup, so if this doesn't quite come across, let me know in the comments and I'll try to change it. Probably not though, because like this is the best setup I've ever had. So I'm going to flip to the back. I want to make this t-shirt the bigger of the t-shirts, right? This is the t-shirt I want to make larger. And you don't have to, you really don't have to be, wait, I'm just using some trivets, by the way. If you hear a weird noise, I'm using some owl-shaped trivets to just kind of weigh my t-shirt down so it doesn't go sliding off the other side of the table. So what we're going to do, is we're going to pretend that we found the exact middle. You don't actually have to, best thing about this, you don't have to do the exact middle. If you cut your line, you're going to cut a line straight up the back of the t-shirt. If you cut off to the side, that just gives you a really cool asymmetrical look. I like to do them pretty balanced on each side, but I have been known to cut off to the side and do like an asymmetrical one. The only thing I would advise about that is wherever you cut, like there is going to be a little bit of a slit, so you may end up exposing some things depending on, you'll see. So what we're going to do, I highly recommend cutting it off center. I'm not discouraging you. I'm only using my ruler for a straight edge, to be honest. I'm going to pick a random point that I think is the middle of this t-shirt, and I'm going to mark a line, right? I'm just going to mark a line on the back of the t-shirt. You could do this in the front. I've done it in the front before. And I'm coming up to maybe like a couple inches below the armpits. I'm coming up pretty high. You can also, again, the rules are made up. Sewing rules are made up. No one knows them. They're just fake. So cut wherever you want. But, you know, I'm coming up a little bit higher, actually. This is why you use craft chalk, kids. Then you can just erase the line. All right, there we go. That's about where I think I want this. Now, the important thing is that we're going to use a second t-shirt on this. And you just want to make sure, good, judging by where your line is, okay, I can cut a rectangle off the bottom of this t-shirt. You just want to make sure that you can cut a rectangle off the bottom of this t-shirt like that, right? Okay. You could use a rectangle of knit fabric. Essentially what you're going to need is you're going to need your t-shirt and a rectangle of similarly weighted fabric that could be from another t-shirt, could also be knit fabric, because I was at Joann's and they had some really cute ones yesterday. Now, again, the rules are made up. I'm not actually aiming for a straight edge here, but I'm going to, where did I put my chalk? There we go. I'm going to come across here. I'm just going to make a line. It's just a guiding line. It doesn't have to be perfect. Right? Right? There you go. Oop. Don't ruin your scissors, Avery. Okay. And then I'm cutting just the back. Don't cut the front. We just are cutting a flap, right? So here's your flap. And you can lay your shirt open and you're seeing that you have this big, gorgeous rectangle. So I guess you probably can guess what we're going to do, but if you can't, we're just going to keep going with the tutorial. That's the first step. Cut the back, cut across. You have this giant flapping front now, okay? Take your second shirt and or your square of fabric. And again, I did not iron this in any way, shape, or form, because that's just who I am as a person. I saw a meme today that said the Muppets are not good at what they do. They're just enthusiastic. So please just regard this as the crafting Muppet show, because I'm not good at what I do. I just really like to do it. So here's how I measure, because I'm lazy. I take the first t-shirt and I put it on the back of the other t-shirt, right? Like, okay, so see here, I can see about how high I need this to be. So I'm like, okay, I need to cut like right about here, right? That's about the width. So I lay the flap down. I've laid the flap down and I'm just looking at the height of the flap right now, okay? Gosh, sometimes I feel stupid when I explain these things. I'm like, I have no idea what I'm saying. I'm saying words. So come across here. You'll notice I'm not making a center line. That's because this time we're just going to cut straight across. Other easy ways to upcycle a t-shirt, if you want an infinity scarf, just cut the bottom off of a t-shirt and now you've got a rectangle that will not unravel. So now we have a rectangle. I'm going to open one side of the rectangle, like, because we are in a tube. So now we're coming out of the tube. If you have a seam, you might just want to bust open the seam, but this t-shirt didn't have seams, so we're not doing that. Now you have this long rectangle, okay, out of the second fabric. Oh my gosh, my nose is running so bad. It hasn't been running until, it never runs until I start one of these, and then I'm like running nose city. So back to the first shirt. We have this flappity flap, right? What we need to now do, right sides together. If you don't know what the right side of your fabric is, the right side is the side you're going to show the rest of the people of the universe. The wrong side is the side that is going to touch your body. So seams are facing into the wrong side of the fabric. So you want to put the right sides together. So since I want the pretty hem to show, and I want the kind of serged side of the hem to not show, and that's up to you. That's a design choice. You can have the serged side out. I don't know. I don't know your life. Kind of vaguely find the center point on that piece. Maybe put a pin in it. It's like, here's the center, right? So you want your right sides together. Okay, sorry. Right sides together. And you can do this with a little bit more care. I just trim the excess wherever I don't feel like having it anymore. Because because a lot of t-shirts aren't going to quite match up exactly. So I kind of find the center back, right? The right sides of the fabric are together. You can even see, here's where the line was. This is where I drew the line originally. So that is the point that I'm going to put my center point on, and just start pinning the fabric together. The cool thing, as you may know if you're someone who watches a lot of video tutorials for sewing, is that t-shirt fabric doesn't unravel really, not the way that normal fabric does. So it's called knit fabric if you're not sure. So you don't have to hem it, which I don't, because have you met me? And that's okay. Rough edges look more rock and roll anyway. So you're pinning along, and you're going to pin the back to, you're going to pin the right sides together, pinning, you know, this new skirty piece that we've made to the back, right? That was my Discord server. Who is paging me? So pin, pin, pin. The awkward thing about sewing, when you've got this all pinned, right, is you're going to get to this kind of point where you had the very square cut. And the thing about the very square cut is you kind of just need to lay it as flat as you can when you're sewing, and just try not to cause a pleat there. That's the best I can tell you. Whenever I would make these for my Etsy store, you just kind of have to very carefully sew and try not to pleat. If you're using an overlocker like a serger and then following it with a straight stitch, it's a little bit easier, but mostly just go really careful when you get to those two corners, and try to hold the fabric of the first t-shirt as straight as possible. See, and then you can see where they don't quite match up, but that's okay because we're just going to trim that part off. Or you can leave it. That could be a cool look to do too. So again, here's the other side where we have that corner piece, and I just want to kind of, when I'm going to sew across it, I'm just going to try to keep it as straight as possible and not get a pleat in the fabric. And you can see on this side, there is a little bit more space that didn't get like covered by the shirt. You could either take part of the top piece and the scraps that you've just cut off and just add a little bit extra here so they match. Or like me, I'm just going to cut that piece off. Like, it's okay to me if they're a little asymmetrical. The point to these shirts is they're really supposed to give you kind of a wild look. You know, these are good for like if you're going to wear it with a harness, if you're going to wear it with a belt, if you're going to go for that rock and roll look. You want to look like, you know, pixie fairy child kind of shirt. So we've got it all pinned, and what I'm going to do, I'm not going to show you because I still don't have a great sewing setup, is I'm going to come across with my serger, and then I'm going to follow that with a straight stitch, and that is pretty much the entire tutorial. The next time you see this shirt, it'll be on my body, and yeah. And here's the final result. Let me just take my glasses off real quick. Yeah, this is pretty much it. It gives you kind of like a nice long skirty handkerchief hem kind of shirt, and it's really good if you're just trying to make something fit you a little bit nicer. I find that loose clothing tends to be just a little more sustainable because it almost always fits me, unlike, you know, when I buy form-fitting things and then, you know, my body goes through changes. So yeah, and this is me going, I don't know how to model. Like, oh my God, I don't know how to model. Do you like my socks? They're purple like his mullet. If you like this video, please enjoy this extreme close-up of my torso where I try to demonstrate exactly what the shirt looks like. Comment, subscribe, share it with a friend. Make sure you go outside, take a walk, fall off your bed trying to model, and make sure you phone a friend if you're feeling creative and crafty this holiday season. Don't craft alone, kids. Anyway, I don't know what that was. Subscribe, please. Bye.